Hello everyone, it's your girl Tinuade of Hishi Couture. You're welcome to another beautiful tutorial. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to make this beautiful palazzo pants. It's an elastic waisted pant with two side pockets. So be sure to follow step by step so that you won't miss out on any information. If this is your first time here, you're welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for sticking by. So I'm going ahead to put my fabric on fold, and the measurement I used was my hip divided by 4 plus 5 inches. So in your own case, add 5 inches to quarter of your hip measurement and put it on fold. So for instance, my hip is 40 divided by 4 will give me 10 plus 5 inches, that will give me 15. But because I'll be cutting the two front pieces together, so I measure out 30 inches, then I put it on fold. So when you open, you have 30 inches, on fold you have 15 inches. So without much ado, let's get started. So I'm gonna head to draw out my starting line, and because this trouser will be having 2 inches band, I'm gonna head to place my tape on 2 inches on that line. So I extended my tape out with 2 inches, making sure that the 2 inches rest on that my starting line so that I can measure out my horizontal lines. So from that line, I'll go ahead and mark out my hip line. So I'm going to go ahead and retain my tape under my starting line for accuracy and take other horizontal measurements. The last line I'll be marking after my hip measurement is my crotch line. And how do I get my crotch line? It's my hip divided by 4. Yes, so my hip divided by 4 is 10. I went ahead to add half an inch to it because I want it to be free around the crotch area. So the next line I'll be marking now will be my tie line or lap. So the tie line is usually 2 to 2.5 inches below your crotch line. So in my own case, I had 12.5, 2 inches plus my 10.5 inches crotch line. So I'll go ahead now and impute it. And also mark my trouser length. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to impute quarter of my hip measurement on my hip line. And I'll go ahead and extend that line to my crotch line and also to my waistline. So I'll take the quarter of my hip measurement from my crotch line to my waistline, just like as you see me do. So to quarter of my hip measurement, I went ahead to add 0.5 inches. So the next thing to do now is to get my crotch extension, and the measurement I used to get my crotch extension is my hip divided by 20 for front. So at that point, I'm going to be imputing the value I got, that is 40 divided by 20. So it gave me 2. I'll go ahead and impute that value under my crotch line. I'll also go out by 1 inch at that corner so that will guide me in drawing out my crotch curve. So after getting a smooth curve there, the next thing I'm going to be doing is to take the measurement from my crotch extension to the other side. Yes, on my crotch line, I'm going to take the measurement I have here from my crotch extension to the other end. I had 13.5, so what I'm going to do is to divide that 13.5 into 2. Yes, just as you see me do. So I'm going to go ahead and mark the value I got on my crotch line. I'll also mark it on my lap. Then I'll also take it from the folded edge so as to create a straight line like so. So if you have been making pants and you notice that the seam line, the side seam used to come to the front, this is what usually causes it. So pay attention at this stage, please. So the next thing we are going to be doing now is to impute our round thigh measurement, our round knee measurement, and our round ankle measurement. And that straight line we have there is called the crease line. And that is going to guide us in imputing our measurements so that they are evenly shared. So under my thigh line, I'm going to be imputing half of my thigh measurement. Yes, our thigh is going to be divided by 2. The round knee is going to be divided by 2, and the round ankle by 2. So what I did was to divide my round thigh into 2, and I shared it equally. My round thigh is 22 divided by 2 will give me 11. So I imputed 5.5 from the center line towards the right and towards the left so that I can have a balanced measurement. Afterwards, I connected it to the sides like so. So because this is a palazzo trouser, we are not going to be needing our round knee and our round ankle. So you can as well transfer the measurement you have on your thigh to straight down the pants, or you can even decide to increase the measurement you have at your ankle. So in my case, I increased it by 1 inch. I'm supposed to impute 5.5 from both sides, to the right and to the left, but I decided to add 1 inch extra. So to the right of my ankle, I have 6.5 on both sides, 6.5 to the right and 6.5 to the left. So I'll go ahead and connect it. So it is as you desire. You can choose to just take it straight down, that is 5.5 at the lower part of the trouser. So from my tie line there to my hip line, I'm going to blend it well. I'm going to smoothen it well so that it can be properly blended. So we're almost as good as done. At the waistline there, we are going to leave it as it is because it's going to be elastic. So at the bend is going to be with band, then we can go ahead and shape on it. So the next thing we're going to be doing now is to cut out. Yes, our front piece is ready, so we'll go ahead and cut out. So on the waistline, I'm going to be adding half an inch. Yes, I'll need half an inch to join to the waistband. So that will be serving as our sewing allowance to join the waistband. So now that we are done with the front, we'll move to the back. So I've gone ahead to fold my fabric into two, and I've gone ahead to place my front piece on the fold that I did. So I made sure I have 2 inches at the upper part there, 3 inches at the two sides, 2 inches at the waist part at the upper part, then 3 inches on both sides, 3 inches to the left of the pants and 3 inches to the right of the pants. The 2 inches I left at the upper part of the waist is to create space for our butt to sit. So I'm going to go ahead and measure out 1.5 inches vertically, just as you see me do from the starting line that I marked on my front piece, not with the seam allowance. So I folded the ½ inch inside so that I could get my 1.5. If you're on the big side, you can go ahead and do 2 inches there, but for my measurement, I think 1.5 is okay. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is to connect the 1.5 inch mark that I made to the side of the waist, like so. So the 1.5 inch mark that I made there is called the butt rise. This is to create space for our butts to sit. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is to add my allowances. Yes, I'll be adding 2 inches allowance at the hip line towards the crotch side. Yes, just that side. I'll be adding 2 inches allowance there, and at the crotch extension for back, I will extend the straight line out. Remember, for front I divided the hip by 20, so for back is going to be by 10, and I'm going to be imputing my value from where the crotch extension of the front stops. So from the crotch extension of the front, I'll be imputing 4 inches for my back crotch extension. Then I'll go ahead and connect my markings together. Yes, from the 4 inches crotch extension to the 2 inches that I added at the hip part, then I'll connect it back to the butt rise, just as you see me do. So at that side of my pants, I'll go ahead and impute 1.5. Yes, I'm going to impute 1.5 from up to down at that side of the pants. That side is 1.5. So I'll go ahead and connect it into a straight line to meet the crotch extension. And right on the other side, I'll be marking 1 inch from up to down. I'll connect all this marking into a straight line, then our trouser is as good as done. So we'll go ahead now and cut out our back piece, and don't forget to add ½ an inch to the waist line of the back piece too. Remember, we added to the front, so it is important that we add at the back for seam allowance to the band. So we'll go ahead now and cut out the back piece. So at this stage, we have our front piece and our back piece. So the next thing we are going to do now is to start joining. But right before we go to the sewing machine, there's something we need to do. We need to cut out the pockets parts. This type of pocket we are fixing is not the inner type, so hence the need for us to cut out that part. So I'm going to be measuring 3 inches on my waist, like so. From the side I'll measure 3 inches, then from the waist I went down by 7 inches. So, and I connected it into a curve. You can actually use a straight ruler to connect it, but I just did a slight curve there. Then you cut out. So for this pocket, I've gone ahead to cut out this piece of fabric. I've gone ahead to cut this rectangular shaped fabric. Is 12 inches long and 8 inches wide. 12 inches long and 8 inches wide. So it's in 4 pieces. So I'll go ahead and set to her side, then work on 2 so that we can see what needs to do. So please take note of the 2 sides. The 2 sides are already looking like crotch side, so you can go ahead and join the crotch with 1/2 inch in order not to confuse you, or you can just follow what I'm doing. So make sure you take note of your crotch and your pocket side. So I have my pocket side there, so I'll take one piece of the rectangular fabric that I cut out and set it with wrong side facing the wrong side. Yes, wrong side facing the wrong side of the trouser piece, like that, and that other sides are matching perfectly. So with the wrong side of the rectangular piece facing the wrong side of the trouser piece, I'll go ahead and shaping it out like so. Now that I'm done shaping the rectangular piece, I'll bring it from under on top of the trouser piece with right side facing right side this time. Please take note, right side will be facing right side after shaping it out. So I'll go ahead and pin it so that it can be properly secured with the trouser piece. So the next thing we are going to do now is to go to our sewing machine and sew the cross side with 1/2 inch. Yes, but I'll be attaching the pockets to the main trouser piece with 1/4 inch. Yes, I'll repeat the same thing to the other side of the trouser. I'll top stitch it, then show us how it looks. So this is what I have after attaching my pockets and closing the crotch part. So yes, so this is it. I've gone ahead to stitch the pocket side with 1/4 inch, and I top stitched it so that it can properly relax. You see the way it's relaxing? Yeah, so that's how you do yours too. So I've also gone ahead to join the back crotch part with 1/2 inch. So this is the back. You can see the way it is. So I'm going to go ahead and set the back piece aside and work on the front. Remember the 2 pieces of rectangular fabric that is left. I'm going to go ahead and bring it out and open out my front trouser piece like this, so, and I'm going to set the rectangular piece under it just the way you see me do, with right side facing up. Just place your rectangular piece under it with right side facing up just the way you see me do, and make sure that you have 4 inches. This is because we cut out 3.5 inches earlier, and we use 1/2 inch to turn it. So what you should be having on the rectangular piece that is out from the curved part of the pocket, there should be 4 inches. I hope you guys understand. Please just carefully follow what I'm doing. You are going to get it. So I'm going to go ahead and secure the rectangular piece that I have under to the trouser with pins. Then I'll flip it over so as to show you what to do next. So this is what we're going to do after flipping your trouser over. This is what I have, and I'm going to gently lift up the pockets pieces, and so following the direction of my finger and the chalk marking. Please be sure not to sew the pockets to the trouser piece. Just gently lift up the pocket and sew following the direction of my chalk marking. So after sewing our pocket, this is what I have. You can see it's looking nice already. And you can see that it is not attached to the trouser pieces. So see the front part, you see, so our pocket is formed already. So the next thing we are going to do now is to place the back piece of the trouser on the front piece so that we can shape it. So if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, kindly do so now so that you'll be notified when I upload new tutorial, because I have so many beautiful and educative tutorial lined up for your pleasure. And don't forget to give me a thumbs up and share this tutorial video if you found it helpful. Thank you very much. So this is me placing my back piece on my front piece, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch the outer side with 1 inch, but the inner side I'll be stitching with half an inch. Yes, and I'm going to make sure that the true crotch seam are matching perfectly. I'll secure that part with pin, then run half an inch from that end to one side, then I'll start half an inch from that same point to the other leg of the trouser. Just carefully watch the direction of my finger. So as for the side seam, I'm going to be using 1 inch to sew. So I'll go ahead and run the side with 1 inch on one side, and I'll repeat the same thing to the other side. Then I'll bring it back and show us how it looks. Ta-dun, ta-dun, ta-dun. So this is what I have after joining the front to the back piece. You can see the pocket is sitting pretty and our trouser is almost ready. So check out the front and the back. You see everything is all laying well. So the next thing we are going to be doing now is to measure out what we have on our waistline. Yes, you're going to be taking your round waist measurements. Yes, so whatever you have, that's what you're going to use to cut out your band, and you had half an inch joining allowance. So let's say waist measurement you have 40 inches, so you had half an inch, so that makes it 40 and half. So the length of your band will be 40 and half by 2.5. Remember, we measure out 2 inches while cutting our trouser. This time we are going to be adding half an inch to hit our sewing allowance. So I'm going to go ahead now and fold the band into 2 and stitch that part with 1/4 inch. Remember, we left half an inch and half of half is quarter, so I'm going to use that quarter to stitch that part, and this is what we have. So I'm going to go ahead now and fold the band into 2 just the way you see me do. Then I'll go ahead and give it a good press, and I'll show us what needs to do. So after pressing, this is what I have. You can see the band looking flat. Yes, I've gone ahead to press it. So the next thing to do now is to pick up my pants and attach the band to it. So I'll be placing the band right side facing right side to the trouser. So I'll go ahead and place the band around the pants and pin it round just as you see me do. Then I'll take it to my sewing machine and stitch it down with half an inch. So after stitching, this is what I have. You can see the way it's looking. So I flipped it to the wrong side. Yes, remember we sew right side facing right side, so I flipped the band now to the wrong side, and I'm going to secure it round with pins because I will need to fold half an inch inside so that I can run a stitch. Yes, the kind of stitch I'm going to be doing is called stitch in the ditch because I'll be sewing inside the front seam. So this stitch is going to be in between the first stitch that I used to attach the band. Yes, it's just inside where my finger is there. If you feel that will stress you, you can just go ahead and run a stitch on the fold there, but the stitch in a dish method is way neater. So after running my stitch, this is what I have, and if you look closely you can hardly see any stitch on the outside because I ran it in between the joining. I also make sure not to close the whole band because of our elastic, so I left like 1 inch so that it will serve as an opening for our elastic to pass through. Before we fix the elastic, what we are going to do next now is to measure 3/4, just the way you see me do. I'm going to measure it round the band, so I'm going to run a stitch on that line, on that straight line round the band. Yes, I'll close up everything. This is because our band is 2 inches wide, meanwhile the elastic is 1 inch wide, so I don't want a situation whereby when we insert our elastic it will be dancing inside. So what I'm doing now is to secure the elastic in place, and by the time we've run that straight line and the elastic enters into its space, you'll see it will give it another kind of fine look. So I'll go ahead now and run the stitch, then show us what it looks like. So I'm done running the stitch. So what I'm going to do next now is to pick up my elastic and pin it with my safety pin. Then I will insert it through the 1 inch opening that I left earlier. So you might be wondering the length of elastic that I inserted into the trouser. So what I did was to minus 10 inches from the round waist that I have on that trouser. I actually had 40 inches on the waist, so I went ahead to cut 30 inches elastic. So at this stage the elastic is out, so what I'm going to do now is to place them gently on each other, maybe like 1/4 of an inch on each other. The two edges of the elastic, I'll place them on each other and run it with a zigzag. Yes, I'm going to close it up with zigzag. If you don't have a zigzag stitch, just make sure that your stitches are strong enough to hold them. You can double stitch it. So I'll go ahead and do that for the lower part of the trouser, then I'll show us how it looks. Ta-da! So this is what we have. You can see how the band is sitting pretty. You see the 3/4 of an inch stitch that we ran at the top part of the band. You see how it came together and it formed a design on it. See our pockets. I've gone ahead to fold the hem of the trouser. You see the way it's looking. So I'll go ahead now, give it a very good press, hang it on the mannequin and show us how it looks. So thank you for watching. It's good having you here. Please don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Share this video. Thank you. See you in my next video. Bye.